Start with you because you do the high card, and we're also going to start with you on the first question. So go ahead on your introduction.
First of all, thank you for the sponsors. Thank you for everyone for coming out tonight. My name is Jesse Kelly, and I am running for Congress in the special election in District 8. You probably figured that out already, though. I am a United States Marine Corps combat veteran. I led a squad of Marines during the invasion of Iraq. I am a businessman. I manage construction projects for the family business all over the country. And most importantly, I'm a husband and father of 2 boys, and they are absolutely my life. And that's why we're running for Congress. I'm not going to sit here and go through every issue that we're about to cover for the next 2 hours tonight. We know we're going to lower taxes. We know we're going to lower gas prices. We're going to get all these things done. But we are running for Congress because the next Congress and President better have one goal in mind, one overarching goal, and that is to reduce the size and scope of this overreaching federal government. That is our goal. That is what we must accomplish. And you know what? That is what we will accomplish. We've had 3 years of enduring this horrible president. We're about to do better in this country, and it's going to be a great 2012. Thank you.
Hello everybody, I'm Martha McSally. I'm a retired Air Force colonel and fighter pilot, and I'm also running in this race, obviously. I'm an Air Force Academy distinguished graduate. I have 2 master's degrees, one from Harvard and one from Air War College. I've worked on Capitol Hill for a year as an advisor to Senator John Kyle, so I know how to get things done in Washington, D.C. I also took on the Pentagon for making our servicewomen wear a Muslim garb when off base in Saudi Arabia. I put my career on the line for my oath of office and for the Constitution, and after we were working that through the courts, I drafted legislation. I got sponsors on the House and the Senate on both sides of the aisle and got that legislation passed as a citizen unanimously on the floor of the House of Representatives as an amendment to the defense bill in the Senate. So I know how to get legislation done as a citizen. I will serve you even so more as your Congresswoman. We have got to get this federal government under control. We've got to rein in our debt. We have got to deal with the national security issues that are facing us. Very clearly, the threat that is south of us in the border is a high national security threat that is the federal government's responsibility. We have other threats around the world, and we need somebody who has the leadership, the moral courage, and the experience globally and nationally to face these threats and lead in Washington, D.C. and represent you. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. My name is Dave Sitton, and I'm delighted to be in front of you tonight to let you know that I'd like to be your citizen legislator, something that the Founding Fathers had in mind. One of my great inspirations is the Constitution of the United States. I began my life in the private sector in 1963 at the age of 8 years old when I began washing dishes at my parents' restaurant in Southern California. Since then, I've been in this community for 38 years of my 57 years, and during that 38, I've been involved with small business, broadcasting, and also college coaching. I have been part of this community this entire time, and I listen to you. So much so that tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you at present, over 240 small businesses have endorsed my candidacy. These are people that I relied on, and they rely on me. And this is why I want your vote so desperately when we get around to this, either by the voting by mail or when we get around to it 3 weeks from tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your vote, and take a look at us later tonight. We'll get into all these details. I'm at davesitton.com.
First, my name is Frank Antonar. I just want to take a few minutes to thank everybody for coming out tonight and spending some time to get informed before you vote. I'm a retired Army Special Forces Sergeant. I spent 20 years in the Army. Most of that is a Green Beret. I fought in Iraq and Afghanistan, on the ground, facing this country's enemies up close and personal. I've been married to my wife Leslie for 20 years. I got 2 teenage sons, both in public schools out in the Vail School District over on the east side. I was elected to the Arizona legislature by many of the people in this room because Arizona was facing a $3 billion budget deficit. And I want to remind everybody that that budget deficit was created through bipartisanship. And only after many of you sent a fiscally conservative legislature up there in 2008 and then again in 2010 that Arizona achieved its first balanced budget in 5 years, and now we have a budget surplus. This is about getting things done. Everybody talks about a do-nothing Congress. The reason you have a do-nothing Congress is because you haven't sent enough people up there with the guts to make the tough decisions and get the job done. I have demonstrated to everyone here tonight that I have already been able to do that. My 4 years in the legislature, I have a solid record of cutting spending, reducing the size of government, fighting illegal immigration. I voted for SB 1070. I've got a record of reducing government bureaucracies and eliminating state agencies. I'm the only guy in this race that actually can say I've been there and done that. So thank you. I look forward to answering your questions. It's antonori.com. Thank you.
Lots of passion, lots of folks working, lots of volunteers. It's great to see everybody so engaged and active. So we're going to start our questionings, and first question is from Donna Liu, and it goes to the high draw, Jesse Kelly, then we're going to Martha McSally, and so forth and so forth. Then we'll keep rotating back through you guys.
Hi, Jesse. What specific values, goals, and experience do you offer the electorate that you feel your Republican opponents lack? How would you distinguish yourself from them?
Thank you for the question, Donna. Well, this is a great question, but I have to say that I have nothing but respect for the other candidates on this stage, and I'd like to use this opportunity to thank all the other candidates on this stage. It is not an easy thing to run for office, put yourself out there, time away from your family. It's a lot of hard work, and no matter what happens, no matter who wins this primary on April 17th, I really admire everybody up here, and we will come together and finally get a conservative elected in Southern Arizona. That will be the goal. As far as who we are, what we are, I don't speak on the platform of any other candidate or sit here and pretend as if I'm better than anyone else on this planet, candidate or otherwise. We simply present who we are. I believe in this country. I believe that America is great because it's free. And we always hear that word free, land of the free, America is free. And what does that mean? It means freedom from government. It's not just a word we put out there. It means freedom from a government that will tax over 50% of what you make, from a government that can control your light bulbs and regulate your toilets. We believe in freedom. We believe in the United States Constitution. That is the platform we run on, and what distinguishes me most is that I'm a foot taller than everybody else.
I told you a little bit about my background and my resume, but a little bit more about why I have the drive to make a difference and serve my country. My dad died when I was 12. He came from a family that was not well off, and he was the one who sort of made it out through going to college, through serving his country in the Navy, and through hard work. And those values were instilled in me as a small child, that it's all about hard work and good values, family values, patriotism, serving, education, and that's what was instilled in me. He died of a heart attack when I was 12. I got to visit with him in between his 2 heart attacks, and in that time, he told me to make him proud. And I have been driven my whole life in order to make him proud and make a difference in the world and pass on that legacy of him and of my mom, who then stepped in, went back to school, and served as an educator until she was 77. What distinguishes me is 2 things. One is I'm electable. We have to look past April 17th and June 12th. How are we going to win this seat? And secondly, I've got 28 years of experience serving my country, commanding in combat, leadership experience to get things done, regardless of the personal cost. And you want someone who can get things done in D.C. Thank you.
I appreciate Mr. Kelly's recognition that he does have a distinct height advantage. And he's the only one that's a credible rebounding rate of the 4 candidates up there. Ladies and gentlemen, a moment ago I said something I think that's very, in my mind, something that I wish you'd keep in mind tonight. The distinct physical advantage I have is this gray hair, which I earned here in Tucson, Pima County. I got it when I was treated here for cancer at the University of Arizona Cancer Center. Prior to that, I have been involved with things like the Davis-Monthan 50. I'm on the board of directors of it. I've been doing everything in this community that you can imagine, between sports, between the fine arts, and the United States military. I've been part of you and part of this community for 37 years, and that's why I can say once again, we are increasing the number of small businessmen and businesswomen who trust me because they've known me. I'm not a career politician. I am ending my other careers to take on this business of representing this district from Cochise County to Pima County. I thank you.
Well, again, I guess I already explained it. It's results versus hype. I mean, you've got to seriously look. How many people have been elected in this country on hype and hope? How many people have not demonstrated they have experience before they enter office? And then when they get there, they let you down. You don't know where they came from. You don't know what they stand for. They give you a lot of nice little campaign slogans. They run really cute commercials. They kiss a lot of babies, smile a lot, and tell you they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. And then they go DC on you when they get up there inside the Beltway. This is about counting on somebody who has a record, who has delivered for Southern Arizona, who has a record that you can trust sending to Washington, D.C., because they've already demonstrated to you that they can earn and take that trust up there. And I think that's the biggest thing that separates me from my opponents. Thank you.
All right. Our next round of questions, this goes to Ms. Martha McSally, and it is from Chris Campbell.
Martha, given the growing number of welfare recipients both in the state of Arizona as well as across the entire country, what is your plan for getting the people of America and the people of Arizona back to work and off of welfare?
Thanks for this great question. The number one concern on everyone's mind is the economy. And in order to get the economy going again, we have got to go back to making sure that the engine of the economy, which is small businesses, are not being suffocated by the federal government. The federal government's overregulation, the federal government's overreach with mandates, the federal government's complex tax code, and then riding the backs of small businesses by auditing them and harassing them in order to comply with it. These things have got to be gotten out of the way so that the private economy can flourish, so that the free market and the entrepreneurial and innovative spirit of Americans and Southern Arizonans can grow the economy and put Americans back to work. The federal government is spending too much of our dollars trying to fix the economy instead of getting out of the way and letting the American spirit and the Southern Arizona spirit actually create those jobs and get the economy going again. So it is our goal has to be to rein in the spending, to rein in the overregulation, to simplify the tax code, and then in the case of the local community here, we have to protect the jobs that we have with Davis Mountain, Fort Huachuca, putting veterans back to work. We are a national security town, and we've got to make sure we have someone who understands how to protect those jobs and then continue to provide opportunities here for the people of Southern Arizona. We just need a hand up, not a hand out, for people to get going and get back to work, and the federal government needs to get out of the way.
Obviously, we need to address deficit spending in this country, get to a balanced budget, and also start attacking this enormous, incomprehensible $16 trillion debt that will be passed along to our children. I have 2 daughters, too. Like many of you in this room, the last thing this generation wants to do is leave behind a legacy where we've spent them into submission. Ladies and gentlemen, as you well know, sitting in this room, we're all going to agree the tax code is onerous. It has to be attacked vigorously. So it's understood, and you talk about really being fair, America is going to be best when we have the maximum number of people working, paying the minimal amount of taxes. What that will do when we deregulate, when we get more people working in this country, you'll watch the incredible flow of investment that will come into places like Southern Arizona, where we can start promoting our geotourism and our biotech industries that we are in such a great position to pursue. We need to get the federal government out of small business and start creating the America that has been successful in the past, the formula that has always been good, and that is that individuals, entrepreneurs, left to their own devices, create jobs.
Again, when I was elected back in 2008, Arizona was next to last in the country for job creation, and we lost over 300,000 private sector jobs. In 3 short years, we turned that around. We were 7th in the country last quarter in job growth. We've got a plan, what we ran here in Arizona. We've got to run that same plan up in Washington, D.C. One of the first things we did when I got in there was vote to put a moratorium on all regulatory and rulemaking to stop the bureaucrats from sticking their boot on the throat of the business community in this state. And it had a major impact by creating a stable environment. The next thing we did is we got spending under control and assured the business community that we didn't have to jack their taxes up anymore to balance the budget. That spurns investment. You want to create jobs? You get the business community to be confident in their economic climate, where they don't have to worry about the government regulating them and taxing them. We've demonstrated that model here in Arizona. It's been a success. We need to take that model to Washington. If we implement it there, it will be a success. nationwide as well. Thank you.
Mr. Jesse Kelly.
Well, beyond lowering taxes and ending burdensome regulations, those are a given. That is letting the free market work and getting the government out of the way. The way to create jobs in this country is energy, and we have it right now. We are blessed to have all the oil, nuclear power in the form of uranium, coal, natural gas we could ever want in this country. We could power ourselves solely off of any of those. You know what the unemployment rate is in North Dakota right now? 3%. They have a massive problem in North Dakota, and you know what it is? They don't have enough housing for all the jobs they've created up there. So in short, the way to pay off this debt, get America back to work, is get the Sierra Club out of the government and send back patriots who will use the mountain of money we are currently literally sitting on in this country to save our economy and save this nation.
It's time for a commercial break for our radio listeners. We're coming to you live from the CDO